He's also hosting the Fox News tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern hour. Will Cain is here.
Hey.
Mr. Cain, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you.
Glad to be here.
You're a resident political expert. So you have Joe Biden, as we just talked about. He's a guy who has 34% of the American people who believe his economy is doing well for them. 70% say the top issue in America right now is the economy and inflation. Americans know that he's spent trillions of dollars, but they're not seeing the results of that. Will the Bidenomics pitch parade work with the American people?
I don't think so. I also think it lands at a time when it feels like everyone's skating in the middle of the pond on thin ice. It feels like at any moment, perhaps because of another rise in interest rates. Americans will continue to feel what they have been feeling, which is, I believe it's something like a 30% decline in their net wealth for the middle class. They have seen what they're worth go down, not just what they have, and we know what inflation has done to what they have and what they can spend, but what their worth has gone down as well. And here he is. He's in South Carolina today. He's touting Bidenomics. It strikes me that this comes at the same time that, of course, you know, we've seen the population shift from people from places like California and New York to the South. But now we have a new report from Bloomberg that $100 billion has also shifted from the Northeast to the South. So I will ask you, did $100 billion shift from New York to Florida because of Bidenomics? That's a tough pitch for Joe Biden to sell.
And it's also the brazen lying. It's not just about the economy. It's about literally everything that he's ever talked about, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's calling the Inflation Reduction Act the Inflation Reduction Act. Don't, serve up this dumpster sausage and tell me that you're giving us steak. The American people are not stupid. Stop talking to us like we're dumb.
Yeah, but they've found success, and not to be a pessimist, they've found success in making words playthings. You can toy with words. You can twist words. You can shift the definition of everything to meet your needs, to meet your agenda. And the only reason I'm a pessimist, Dagan, is because we've at least seen some success for them in that respect. I mean, it's not just 2020, it's also in 2022. I was taken aback by the election results of the midterms in 2022 because it was so clear, Sean, that quality of life in so many places, be it crime, be it inflation, had been decimated. And yet, I don't know, either because you can't trust elections or you can't trust the definition of words, they've managed to spin this forward. And we'll see if they can do that in 2024. What
I find interesting is Joe Biden is going to South Carolina. That's a Republican state, but it was very important in his primary victory. I wonder if that says anything about his fear of the rise of RFK, number one. And number two, he's going down there to promote a solar technology company, Enphase Energy. He says it's going to create 600 new jobs with federal investment dollars. That makes me think of Solyndra, where they said it was going to create 3,000 construction jobs and 1,000 permanent jobs. And we all know that a couple years later it went bankrupt. These investments don't work well.
The Wall Street Journal said it well today. Capitalism does create destruction. It's called creative destruction.
Right.
It kills jobs and ideally replaces them with new, more productive jobs. It's always a hard transition for those that are in the middle of that storm. But what you look at with Bidenomics is things like Solyndra. You fund businesses that don't have an appropriate place in the market, and you, in the process, destroy productive jobs in products that consumers want. Like, for example, just as an illustration, gas-powered vehicles instead of electric vehicles.
Good example.
I'm warning the UAW, your jobs are going away with this push toward EVs, that there are 35,000 union jobs that could just disappear because EVs cost so much more, not only to manufacture, and they can't even sell and raise the prices enough they cost way more to sell, and they can't hike the prices enough to unload them.
Yeah, consumer demand is not there to support.
I'm talking in circles. I'm going to shut
Well, I want to talk about cocaine, right?
Oh.
Because the White House cocaine mystery is getting a little bit thicker, Will. Today we're learning it was found in a cubby near the West Executive entrance, which is outside the Situation Room. And so that, by the way, that entrance is where secretaries will go in and out. Where members of Congress will go in and out, but we don't actually have the exact location yet from the Secret Service. Any idea where this cocaine, do you have any guesses where this cocaine could have come from?
No, but I don't have access to the CCTV system that is most assuredly in every room of the White House. This cannot, Sean, this cannot fall down the unsolved mystery rabbit hole of the Supreme Court leaker or the January 6th pipe bomber. This is eminently solvable, as those were as well. We can know. By the way, we all have pretty good intuition as to who might have left some coke in the White House. If it's not Hunter Biden, if my intuition is off, I think we have a secondary question to ask is, exactly how many crackheads do you have in the White House? But I think that we can play a little, clue, Sherlock Holmes, and just grab the tapes. Grab the video. We can find out who's snorting blow in the White House.
Who's hiding blow?
This is where I don't explain the difference between crack and powder cocaine. Anyway, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has answered just 2% of questions on President Biden's scandals. That's according to a new study from the Media Research Center. And she keeps deflecting. Watch.
So first, let me just say I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals. He does indeed take classified documents seriously. I'm just not going to go beyond that. I am going to refer you to the White House counsel. I'm going to be, again, very mindful because this is all connected to a case that the DOJ is currently overseeing, so I'm not going to comment on that.
2%.
You comment.
See if I can beat 2%. She has, and by the way, this is something that is self-evidently clear. We didn't even need a stat. She's not very good at it. She's good at it in that she never does end up answering the question, but she's blatant in her three-card Monty trick. I don't have any information from that here today. You'll have to ask the appropriate department. There's nothing apparently appropriate to answer from the podium of the White House spokeswoman. Nothing, no controversy, nothing about, obviously, influence peddling or bribery or corruption in the White House. Now, nothing about cocaine, nothing about denied granddaughters, nothing. We get no answers from Karine Jean-Pierre.
But I'll take the flip side of that coin. Maybe she's doing a brilliant job because there is no good answer. You can't actually answer the question because the answer is going to sell your boss down the river. So you just go, I talk to somebody else about it. I can't give you an answer. So
as much as that may be a credit to her abilities to spin, Sean, it's actually an indictment on the people in the room asking the questions.
That's right.
On the inherent incuriosity and persistence of the media.
I know you have a lot of work to do for the 8 p.m. hour, but if you'll just stick around for one moment.
And I'll correct myself on the EV thing in the meantime. It's billionaire versus billionaire in the social media wars.
Threads, which is Meta's new app for meant to compete with Twitter, has gained more than 30 million users since it launched yesterday. And now Twitter is threatening to sue Meta over the app.
Kelly O'Grady has all the dirty details. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Dagan and Sean. Yeah, we don't have a cage match yet, unfortunately, but this next round of the billionaire fight could be heading to court. So after Meta launched that Twitter-inspired app, the Musk-run platform is threatening legal action. They sent this letter to Meta saying, quote, Meta has hired dozens of former Twitter employees. Meta deliberately assigned these employees to develop in a matter of months Meta's copycat Threads app with specific intent that they use Twitter's trade secrets. Now, Meta responded to our inquiries with a no comment, but many are highlighting the similarities that it bears to Twitter. You've got short text-based posts that users can respond to and reshare. It is unique, though, in that it's linked to Instagram. So users can actually keep the same handle and follow the same people with one click of a button. And that is why analysts are calling Threads a potential Twitter killer. That the app can not only leverage Meta's strong advertising relationships, but also its robust user base of more than 2 billion. Now, in launching Threads, Zuckerberg accused Twitter of faltering in creating a public forum, instead sharing his vision for Threads.
We are launching Threads, an open and friendly public space for conversations. I am looking forward to the fun journey ahead to turn this into the kind of big and friendly community that I think we all want to see in the world.
Now, it does beg the question, though, who decides what's open and friendly? Now, some users are reporting warning messages when trying to follow certain accounts. Twitter Files journalist Michael Schellenberger took it one step further, calling it censorship. He said Mark Zuckerberg has promised us a better experience than Twitter, but he is censoring users and offering no avenue for appeal. So, Shauna Dagan, not a seamless launch, but the app is certainly gaining traction in what Zuckerberg called, I think, round one of that billionaire matchup.
Kelly, thank you so much for that. Kelly O'Grady. Will, thoughts?
Well, I'm not on Threads yet. Are you on Threads?
No, I don't use Facebook. I use Instagram, but I don't need to wade into that another.
But you're big on Twitter too, Dagan, right? You're a big
I'm on
Twitter
Twitter,
follower.
and there are problems at Twitter.
Don't you have like 1 million followers or 250,000?
No, but there's no. I have had zero. There's no growth there. I think that there are definitely issues with the account growth there, but I do not believe that Zuckerberg has the best interest of conservatives in mind.
Well,
that's my opinion.
Or of free thought.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you want a censored Twitter, Threads is there for you.
Right.
I mean, that is what the literal promise is of Threads. We will edit and censor content. We will manipulate what you're capable of seeing because some ideas are just too dangerous. And if that's appealing, you now have a landing spot in Threads. I have seen some feedback online where people are like, it's just giving me things that I didn't even choose to follow. It's almost like a purely curated, edited vision of the world. I just don't understand why everybody has such a problem with free speech. I'm happy to be in a free speech zone. And I'm not sure it is, but if that is what it will be at Twitter, I'll stick with Twitter.
I'll stay there. And by the way, I'm happy to be offended. You can offend me all you want.
Right.
That doesn't hurt me.
What,
Sticks and stones, as my mom said.
Zuckerberg peddling this like happy land with like warm hugs. I don't need him to be the person who decides what makes me happy. Yeah. And I don't need a hug from anybody.
Well, Cain, thanks for doing a little warm-up primer before you do the AP on Fox News.
Thank you. It helps. I can cathartically get a few things out. Now I go.
You're welcome.
For 8.
You're welcome for being able to join us on The Bottom Line. Thank you for being here, 8 p.m. tonight, Fox News Channel. Will Cain, don't miss him. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge.